comfortable with it. Perfect. Now, let us start. So let us start sitting in any comfortable pose. You could choose to sit higher on the blanket or bolster or meditation pillow, or maybe if you really like to lie down, that's okay. Yes. And then rest your hands on your thighs. You might like to focus your eyes on one point. So quiet your eyes a bit. And then if you feel comfortable with, you could also close your eyes. And actually the reason why I always ask you, how are you feeling? Is to let you hear your own voice. Because by either talking or by writing, we really are able to kind of express ourselves and then hear or read back what the emotions are, what our needs are, because sometimes we find the mind being very busy. It is a bit like running thoughts, and there's no moment for rest. But once we put it on the paper, or once we just speak out, then there is a chance for saying, okay, aha, that's what's going on with me. Yeah. So then check with yourself, how are you feeling in your body? So if there are any injuries, you could go through those injuries and just check out, are they the same? They feel the same like last time, or maybe they feel slightly different. And see if you can pay attention on your breath. So simply just feel how the breath moves in through your nose and is passing by your lungs and moves all the way down to your belly. And then with the out breath, follow that breath from your belly and then all the way out through your nose. Whenever things get too intense, you always can exhale through your lips. It is kind of helping to let go. And then you might like to go through the brain, like through the mind. How is the mind? Are there any thoughts? Thoughts about the past? Or maybe future? And I like you to know that everything what we fight with actually grows in strength. So whenever you're aware of any unpleasant things, emotions, sensations, stress, lack of sleep, and then you kind of start to focus on it and maybe put some, yeah, you actually charge that. So not to say that you make it bigger than it is, because, but yeah, we could say it makes it bigger. And then when we can find this compassion, understanding, and also love, then everything is quieting down. Yeah. So see if, as you place your hand on your heart, take this tiny moment to ask yourself what I really need in this very moment. See if you can repeat the questions for this question for 3 times. And then listen to the answer, and then ask the second time, listen to the answer. Again, question number 3, and then listen to the answer. And then let us take one more breath. And a complete breath out. Perfect. You can rest the arms back on your thighs. And then simply connect your index finger with your thumb. So even if you're on your back, you can just connect your index finger with your thumb and then breathe in. And then breathe out. Then connect your middle finger with your thumb. Breathe in. And then breathe out. And then go to the ring finger and your thumb. Breathe in. And breathe out. And the same, the ring finger with your thumb. Breathe in. And then breathe out. So let us repeat the same 3 times. Go on in your own pace and see if you can be very present with the breathing fingers. And if from time to time the thoughts will come, instead of pushing them away, just let them come and let them go. See if you can relax your jaw and rest your tongue on the upper palate of your mouth. And then one more round. And if you finish, take a tiny moment to notice how you feel. And whenever you feel out of balance, and this can be overload of thoughts or feeling really dizzy inside, maybe emotions coming up, you can always try this simple meditation with the fingers. So by deepening the breath and concentrating your mind, then you get more grounded. So this will be your tool for this week. And now when you feel ready, let us open the eyes and then straighten your legs forward for a tiny moment. Yes, so we will start with the caterpillar. And so maybe you need to sit on the blanket. So place something under the sitting bones if you have any tightness in the hamstrings, or maybe any compression in the hip joints or pain in the lower back. Now, if you get the pillows or the bolster, you could bring it between your legs. And then choose to bend forward and slide down. So you can place either your forehead on your arms or maybe your head. Turn to one side. And of course, if you prefer to just hang, you don't need the bolsters. You just let your upper body hang. So every time we use the support, it is a bit softer, it is more restorative. And then when we don't use the props, it is more of a intense sensations of stretch. We even could say we are create kind of stress for the fascia. Yeah. And now let us check what we feel. So we like to feel the stretch at the back side of the legs, the lower back, space between the shoulder blades and the back side of your neck. Good. And then what we don't want to feel, no pain at the back side of your knees or by your sitting bones. If you feel the back side of your knees, please roll the blanket placed under your knees. No sharp pain in your lower back. You can sit higher on the pillow. And then there should be no numbness of your feet. If you have that, please widen the legs. And from the moment you feel comfortable means there is nothing would need to be adjusted. See if you can focus your eyes on one point and then return to your breathing. And to help yourself to kind of know what you feel, you can do that little exercise, and then whatever comes to your awareness, so things you become aware of, you can mention in yourself. So for example, you feel the stretch between the shoulder blades, and you mention in yourself a stretch between the shoulder blades. I feel that. Or maybe if there is an emotion coming up, then you say, oh, I feel sad. Or I feel the tingling in my toes. I notice my breath is shorter. Oh, there was a car passing by. Everything what comes through your senses will be received. And then you just mention, if you like that, just be aware what you feel. And see if you can relax with every exhalation. And then keep observing how all those sensations are changing, especially if there is one dominant sensation like the back pain, for example, or stretch of the lower back. So keep observing how all that is changing when we bring more time and we bring more care to that part of the body. Good. Let us stay here for another 5 breaths. So maybe you remember a saying, there is no way to happiness, and happiness is the way. Yeah, so it is so important to stay connected to yourself and connect to this happy and joyful feeling which comes from within. And I also like to say that, you know, we can change the city, the country, the work partner, but there's always somebody who is traveling always with us. It's ourselves. That's why it's really good to love it and to really become good friends with that lady. Yeah? Good. And then slowly bring yourself all the way up. Bring the hands behind you for a tiny moment. You could drop your head forward or backward. Take this tiny moment to feel the sensations in your body, in your legs, especially your spine, any other part of your body. And keep pattern breathing. So with the in-breath, send your breath to your lower belly, then to your rib cage. And as you exhale, bring it like exhale from your rib cage and then your lower belly. Yeah, keep that pattern breathing, belly and rib cage, and belly. Good. And then carefully release. So you might like to sit higher or just flat, depends what you need. We will go for the penguin pose. So with the penguin, you could keep your feet a little wider than the hips. And then the penguin can be done with 2 arms or 1 arm. So we will place the hand either in the waist or maybe we make a fist. And then we bring the elbows inside. If possible, both arms. If not possible, then we do the single arm. Okay. So the elbows are inside, the knees are outside. Perfect. And then please check how your wrist is feeling. If you keep your wrist like in a flexion and you feel pain in the wrist or maybe in the numbness of your fingers, please make a fist. And then keep the fist in your waist so your wrist is staying long. And when you're ready, just bend forward. As you will bring your knees closer towards each other, you will create more stretch for the muscles between the shoulder blades. Do a tiny stretch in your lower back. There should be no pain in your wrist or shoulder, no numbness of your hands. And whenever you don't know where to go, then just return to yourself. And then concentrate on your breath. As the hands are resting on the waist, you will feel the expansion of the belly or rib cage with the in-breath. And then tiny softening with the out-breath. You might like to breathe in for count of 4 and exhale for count of 6 or 7. We are stimulating the yang arms, like yang meridians, small, large intestine, and triple heater. So the metal and the fire element, they are connected with the yin meridians, of course. So the lungs, the heart, and the pericardium. So if we look at the balance emotions of the metal, is the contentment. And this is actually a beautiful practice of seeing everything what you have and being grateful for, and also seeing everything what you don't have and also being grateful for. And the balance emotion connected to the fire element is the joy and love. So then it's a kind of reminder for us to really enjoy what we do, but also to share love and then to love yourself first and then love others. Yeah. If you do the single arm, you could switch now. So then we stay for a few more breaths. See if you can exhale and relax even more. And remember not to push, you don't need to achieve anything. Like we said before, yeah, expect nothing. And that's always the art. If we get into the pose, we know, and then kind of we know what to expect from the pose. But then there is this beginner mind, the quality of being a beginner. Like if we do the pose for the first time, that's what we try to imagine. Like I do this pose, like if I would do it for the first time. And this is beautiful quality for our life. It's like imagining you take a cup of coffee tomorrow morning, and then you're going to drink that cup of coffee like if you would drink it for the first time in your life. Yeah? If you drink coffee, and if you don't, then go for tea. Yeah? Now we stay here for another 5 breaths. One more breath. Good, and very carefully release the legs and the arms. Yes, take your time to get out of the pose. So you might like to take this tiny moment to feel all that energy around your shoulders, the arms, your upper back, legs. Maybe you feel kind of relief, pleasure, space, warmth, coolness. And again, help yourself to really mention what you're aware of, what you feel. Good. Take another breath. And then completely breathe out. Perfect. We're going to lie down on the belly and we go for the Sphinx pose with the option of the lizard. So what you need for that pose, it's actually at least one blanket. So this will be placed under your knee. And maybe you will need the other blanket. Let's see. So as we lie down on the belly, so bring your left knee towards the blanket. And then what's important is that you can move your knee higher or lower. And this is really up to what you can do with your knee joint and your hip joint and your SI joint. Yeah? Good. So in any case, you're in a Sphinx with your shoulders relaxed and you feel, and then you will feel that's too much for your lower back. So you feel any sharp pain in your lower back. So then either you skip the lizard position, you do the pose with both legs straight, but before stopping, see if you can maybe place the blanket under the rib cage. And this will kind of make your arch less deep. This can really feel nice. Good. See if you can relax in your shoulders, and then the green sensations, if you feel tiny stretch inside of your thighs, especially the left thigh. Maybe some stretch in your belly muscles, the right groin. Maybe you feel tiny compression in your lower back. That's all green. And what we don't want to feel is any sharp pain in your SI joints, any pulling pain in your knees, and also no pain in your shoulders. You can drop your head or use the block or anything what you have for under your head. And then see if you can stay here for a few more breaths. So with this pose, we are stimulating the stomach and spleen meridian, but also the kidneys, conception vessel, and inside of your left thigh, there is also the liver meridian. So if you like to just imagine a tree, so with a really solid trunk and then roots and the branches and leaves. And sometimes, yeah, there's a strong wind and the tree is moving all over, right, left, front, back. So that's all the impact from the outside, the weather, relations with people, also the way we treat ourselves, so our thoughts, our judgments. So sometimes it's really windy or stormy, but then the trunk is renewing from inside. With every day, it creates new cells, so it can grow and it can start again and be fresh and be stable. So it's really very interesting to imagine that. And then know whenever you feel there is quite stormy or windy day, then you remind yourself being a tree with a solid trunk and very solid roots. So we try to stay centered. And the wind will go, same the storm will go. And the tree remains strong and stable. Send your breath all the way down to your lower belly. To feel the belly touching the ground. So breathing, being on the belly, it's also a really nice way to feel the belly moving and then so the breath going down to connect to the earth. And then observe as we stay steady. So we focus on the breath. We don't move. We just are stable. How this is influencing the mind. We will stay here for another 5 breaths. And one breath. Good, and very carefully bring yourself out of the pose. So first your upper body, and then slowly straighten the legs and take a moment on your belly to lie down and relax. And then let us take one more breath. And then complete breath out. And then let us switch the side. So if you like, please use the blanket under your right knee. So bring your right knee into the lizard position. And of course, if there won't be any pain in the knee or hip joint, you can always try to move your leg higher or lower, and eventually you can also straighten your leg and do the Sphinx Pose. Maybe you need to use any support under the rib cage to make the curve less curvy. And in any case, your hip bones are pushing to the ground, you also could use the blanket under your pubic bone and your hip bones. Yeah? Good. You can drop your head down if you like, or keep it straight forward. It is really up to you how it feels for your neck. And then let us dive inside into what we feel. So if there is any stretch at the inside of your right leg, the belly muscle, the left groin, maybe tiny compression in your lower back or the upper back, that's breathing sensations. We don't want to feel any pain in the knee, in the hip, or lower back. And then whenever, it's interesting, whenever we really feel we are present with the body and with all the sensations, and then we can really feel what makes more intense sensations or what creates the pain and what is releasing the pain. And this is interesting because if we are aware of our actions in the life, we also can know after a while, after observing and reflecting, what is causing the pain or causing any suffering actually. So now the question is, can I be kind to myself? Can I be free of suffering? And when we are walking on the path, the journey, the path of growth, we are simply confronted with ourselves, and then we come across the habits, the habits which we've created for a long time. And then whenever you hit that, or you just are confronted with a habit, like I said before, just smile. Oh yeah, that's this habit. Okay, interesting. And then move on. It's like habit of worrying. So all those habits, they are a bit like automatic paths in our brain, and we just keep, repeating it without thinking about that. That's why every time we ask the question, how do I feel about that? This gives us a chance to really choose a different path, not only this automatic path. And that's the mindfulness. Being aware of everything what's inside, outside, and then choosing the path you like to walk. Now let us stay here for another 5 breaths. And then 1 breath. And then very carefully bring yourself down, straighten the leg. Yes, you can take this tiny moment to relax. Scan your body. Scan your mind. Just become aware of what's present. So let us take 1 more breath. And then complete breath out. So the next pose will be a child pose. And now a few options. So if the knees are sensitive, please use the blanket under the knees. Then option number 2, I know that maybe some of you have this pain or pulling in the knees. You're not able to bend that knee so much. You don't have to, and that's good news. What you can do is to use something like a pillow in between the thigh and the calf. And then when you will bend forward, then you keep a bigger angle under, right? And in any case, this doesn't work, so the blanket doesn't help, the extra pillow doesn't work, then you can always take again the forward fold, the caterpillar, yeah? But I think it is good to try a child pose with the equipment. If you don't need the equipment, do it without. And the other option would be the Anahadasana. So instead of moving the hips to the back, you let your chest kneel down. That's also the option, yeah? So please choose the option, either a child pose with, without equipment, Anahadasana or caterpillar. Yes, and let me talk through. So if you're in a child pose, we like to feel the stretch at the lower back and upper back, especially. And what we don't want to feel, no pain in your hip joints or groins. If you have it, maybe try to widen the knees, it can help. Or if your knees are wide, bring them closer by. And also no pain in your knees and no pain in your ankles, yeah? If you have any pain in your knees, yeah, I already gave you some options, the blanket, either under or between. Now, if you're in Anahadasana and your arms are straight forward, there should be no pain in your shoulders or numbness of your hands. If you have that, you can either keep your elbows bent. If this doesn't help, then please go with one arm. So for example, you straighten your left arm and you keep your other arm bent, forehead on your hand. Yes, and then see if you can really relax in the pose. And then if there is something you're holding on, I like to also give the example of a stone in the shoe. So if you kind of have that stone in your shoe and then you keep walking and then you just kind of prevent, oh, I don't feel it, or there is this stone in the shoe, but I do nothing about that. I just keep walking that path. Then you start to feel the pain is increasing actually, right? So on the way to get rid of that pain is to get rid of the stone. So holding is not what we need. Holding brings the suffering. So see if you can let go of any things you're holding or attached to, any expectations from other people, world, yourself. And then this beautiful child pose is always a reminder for us to connect to that inner child, connect to the child you've been 20 years ago, 40 years ago, 50 years ago. And this child probably had an open heart, open hands, open eyes, open ears, all senses were open, and you were busy with doing things you love. And the thing is that this little child is still in you. It is still in me. It is still in everyone. So see if you can call this child within you and then say to that girl, hey, I like you. Or even I love you. And of course, once you just allow yourself to say that, notice all the reactions of thinking, judging, maybe some difficulties or resistance, maybe there are some body sensations. Just observe all that. As we stay here for 5 breaths. Good, one more breath. And then very, very carefully you could get out of the pose. So maybe you like to just simply walk your hands towards your knees and for tiny moments straighten the legs. So if there is a high blood pressure or the cold, then you can straighten the legs forward and then do it in a sitting position. So take this tiny moment to let the energy open, let the energy flow. Let your breath be slow and deep. See if you can breathe all the way down to your lower belly.
And then 3 more breaths. One breath. Good, and then very carefully bring yourself back to the mat. Yes, and you could sit on 2 sitting bones, either on the blanket if you need to be higher, and then let us straighten the right leg to the side for a tiny moment. So you can choose to keep your left leg, left knee bent or left leg straight. If your knees bent and after a while you will feel any pulling in your knee, remember to use some support like a pillow or a blanket. And then we're going to bend to the right side. And we get the elbow either to the thigh or to the shin or maybe the elbow behind you. You can also use something under the elbow. Yes, and then find a comfortable pose for your cheek to relax. And again, if you feel the stretch is a little too intense, yeah, use extra elevation. So this will make the position easier, and then we also enjoy more. Now, so let us see. Can you feel the long stretch at the left side of your body? So side belly muscles, and then the rib cage. Yeah, maybe a stretch at the back side of your right leg and the inside of your thighs. Good. There should be no pain at the back side of your right knee, no pain in your groins or your knee, and also no pain in your lower back or SI joint. Yeah, if there's the pain in your lower back SI joint and also maybe some compression of your rib cage to your pelvis, you always can turn your body a little towards the ground or opposite towards the ceiling and choose the spot you can really rest. And then in any case you feel that pose is too easy, you can forget the blanket or bring your arm over your head. But please choose the option which fits you. And this is a gallbladder meridian activating or stimulating in the left side of the body. Also the liver meridian inside of the thighs. And there we have also the urinary bladder, backside of your right leg and below the spine. So the water with the wood element. As soon as you can, return to your breathing. And with every exhalation, see if you can let go of any tightness. And again, keep observing how all those sensations are changing while we stay stable. Good, another 5 breaths. And then after the 5th breath, very carefully bring yourself out of the pose. And then straighten the legs forward. You might like to bring the hands behind you. And just feel the right and left side of the body. Again, looking for whatever is present. And try not to resist. Whatever is coming, let it come. And then one breath. And a complete breath out. Good. So let us switch the sides. So when you're ready, bend your right knee, straighten your left leg. And again, if there's really serious knee issue or hip joint issue, you can easily keep your right leg straight, dragonfly instead of the half butterfly. If you need, support the thigh and then bend towards your left side, get the elbow into the thigh, or maybe use extra blanket under your elbow. Find a comfortable pose for your head. It can be the fist, can be the inside of your hand. Yes, and let us just dive in what we feel, how different this side is. Maybe the stretch in the right side of your body feels a little more intense. The rib cage, the muscles between the rib cage are also stretching. The stretch at the back side of your left leg and the inside of your thighs. In any case you like to feel more stretch, you always can bring your right arm over your head. And always we try to find or be in a pose the way you could fall asleep. And of course, everything depends of the stiffness, but the stiffness, it can be physical, of course, but that's connection to any mental or emotional stiffness or blockages. And some positions feels like I can really easily fall asleep. And with some other poses, you will feel like I keep fighting and yeah, so, but we try to kind of approach every pose the way that we can really fall asleep in the pose and become aware of what is coming up in the sense of the body sensations, the thoughts, the memories, emotions. And whenever you feel a bit like dizzy or nauseous or maybe crying, that's the signs of releasing any tensions. And that's beautiful that you can feel that. looking for, remember, all the happiness, all the joy, all the love, strength, stability from inside out, within us. Be aware of the way you're breathing. So if you breathe in for count of 6, see if you can breathe out longer for count of 8 or 9. So there is no need to rush, there is no need to achieve anything right now. And you know, sometimes we realize that we kind of lost in thoughts or lost in life. But this is the way to go inside, to find ourselves again, to return to all things we love to do, not to be afraid of change things. Yes, let us stay here for another 5 breaths. Two breaths more. And 1 breath. And very, very carefully bring yourself out of the pose. So you might like to lie down on your back. Take this tiny moment to just feel the effects of the present pose. Yeah, you can dive under the blankets, that's okay. Maybe you need to cover the light with using a blanket or a towel or the eye pillow over your eyes. So I will guide you through meditation, a lake meditation, a lake. So the goal of the meditation is to connect to our potential. So as you're on your back, begin to pay attention to all the parts of your body which are touching the ground. all parts of the body which are resting. So the heels, your calves, the butt muscles, the shoulder blades, back side of your head, and your arms. And notice how your weight is distributed on the ground. Get into the senses of your body. And then feel your feet. Feel your legs. Feel your hips. Feel your pelvis. Feel your spine. Feel your arms. Feel your shoulders. Feel your head. When you feel ready, bring the awareness to your breath and feel each breath coming in and going out. Letting the breath be the way it is without changing or regulating it in any way. Allow your breath to flow easily with own rhythm and pace, knowing that your breath is perfectly well right now. Nothing for you to do. Allowing a sense of being complete, whole, in this very moment, just by letting your breath be your breath. And as you are resting here, letting an image form in your mind's eyes of a lake, a body of water, large or small. So letting this image gradually come to the greater focus. And even if it doesn't come as a visual image, allow the sense of this lake and feeling of its presence to arrive. The lake you are invoking might be deep or maybe shallow, blue or green, muddy or clear. With no wind, the surface will be flat, mirror-like, reflecting trees, rocks, sky and clouds, holding everything in its self-moment. Wind may come and stir up waves, causing the reflection to disappear. But then sunlight may dance on the waves and shine like diamonds. When night comes, the moon turns to dance on the lake. Or when the surface is still, the lake reflects the moon. In winter, the lake may freeze over all movements and lie below. And as you are resting here, breathing, as you establish this image of the lake in your mind's eyes, allowing yourself, when you feel ready, to bring it inside yourself completely. Become one with it. Become one with the lake. So that all energies in this moment are held in awareness with openness and compassion for yourself. In the same way as the lake's water are held by the receptive and accepting buzzing of the earth itself. Breathing as the lake, feeling its body as your body, allowing your mind and your heart to be open and receptive, moment by moment. Reflect whatever comes near, or to be clear all the way to the bottom. So experiencing moments of complete stillness, when both reflection and the water are completely clear. And other moments, perhaps, when the surface is disturbed, chopped, stirred up, reflections and depth lost for the moment. As you lie here, simply observe the play of the various energies of your own mind and heart, the thoughts and emotions, impulses and reactions, which come and go like waves. So the lake meditation reminds us of the lake within ourselves. So just as the lake sits contained by the earth, reflecting sun, moon, stars, trees, clouds, and sky, birds and light, touched by the air and the wind, which brings out its vitality, its potential, moment by moment. And you might like to bring yourself slowly back into here now. Maybe stretch the body, move with the ankles, with your wrists. Yeah, any movement which feels good to you. Open your eyes, notice how are the eyes, how is the mind. You might like to roll to one side. And when you're ready, bring yourself up to sitting. So you could bring your hands to your heart. So return to your intention. And remember that with every in-breath, there is a new chance for a new beginning. So I like you to take your intention and see it a bit like a new beginning. And take good care of that. Namaste.